In dairy manufacturing, profitability starts with getting the most value from every pound of milk. Infor helps dairy processors optimize yield, reduce waste, increase throughput, and improve visibility across operations, so you can maximize every load of milk that enters your plant. Purpose-built for the dairy industry, Infor combines deep industry expertise with AI-powered capabilities that help automate processes, improve efficiency, and drive profitable growth. Visit infor.com to learn more.
This is the Dairy Download, brought to you by EverAg Insights and the International Dairy Foods Association, where we offer extra sharp market and policy insights on dairy. I'm your host, Phil Plort, an advisor to EverAg and the executive director of the Wisconsin Dairy Products Association.
And I'm your co-host, Kathleen Wolfley, head of Insights at EverAg.
This week's episode is all about ice cream. Our guests are here to give us their perspectives on ice cream trends, innovation, and how they serve their customers. But first, Kathleen, where are we now?
Well, Phil, it's been a pretty volatile week this week. CME block cheddar closed at $1.61, 2 cents lower on the week. That was actually off the highs for the week. Spot butter closed at $1.51, an 8-cent drop, and the spot non-fat market is down to $1.40, 7 cents lower. Phil, what is your most important thing right now?
I think this cattle market break deserves some attention. So, live cattle futures traded down to as low as $221.70 per hundredweight on the August contract this week. And that's down about 11% from the June 22nd highs of $250 a hundredweight. Now, $221.70 is still a very high price for cattle. But the big story here, or the big question here is the cattle cycle, has it peaked? Is it over? Is this the big one? Because we've seen a little bit of slippage on beef retail sales finally. We've seen a lot of political pushback against high beef prices. We've seen more imports. And so is this the point where the cattle cycle is getting close to hitting the reset button on prices? Now, why does this matter for dairy? Well, dairy producers have been making a lot of money on beef cattle, beef dairy crosses, and it's been a huge supplement for them over the past 6, 12, 18 months. And if we start to see the cattle income drop precipitously, would it change behavior in terms of milk production appetites? I don't think we're there yet. But for the first time in a while, this is a pretty big break in cattle, and it's worth paying attention to.
Phil, this cattle thing is really interesting to me, too, as I look at milk cow numbers up 19,000 head from May to June. Can we keep the cow numbers growing at the pace that we have been if the price for your cull cows is maybe starting to slip a little bit? Do producers look at weakening cattle futures and overcrowded barns and hot conditions and say, maybe this is an opportunity to cull a few more animals here and there?
Yeah, before prices drop any further, right?
Exactly.
I think that's one angle. And the other thing is on the beef on dairy breeding stuff. Even if day-old cattle prices dropped to whatever, 1,200, 1,100, and I doubt we're even close to that. But would that change behavior, considering nobody ever made more than 300 before? I don't know. But I just think it could be an inflection point, because we've been hearing for at least 6 months and probably longer that it's about time for this cattle cycle to peak. Again, I'm not going down. I'm not. That won't be my fearless prediction or anything like that we've peaked the cattle cycle, but it certainly has my interest. What do you think is the most important thing?
Well, thinking about things that have interest, this week's GDT cheddar price dropped to $1.63. That was down.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was down more than 10 cents from the prior auction. And compared to the late June auction, prices are down 40 cents. So big declines in GDT cheddar values. At the same time, the EEX mozzarella values have been moving higher, CME block prices higher as well. So we're all kind of sitting here with US prices and GDT prices basically at parity. EEX values are the highest out there. And I keep wondering to myself, does this change the math into those contested regions? We keep talking about the fact that the US probably needs 20 to 30 cents of discount to the EEX mozzarella value to win into places like South Korea, Japan, Australia. What does that math look like versus GDT cheddar?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've kind of concluded that mozzarella is the battleground, and the U.S. is probably winning by a tolerable enough margin there with EX Mott's about $1.80. But yeah, makes you wonder.
Yeah, I mean, we're already probably at the narrowest range for comfort. Like you said, EEX prices at $1.80 versus the US, well, now down to around $1.60. So we're sitting around 20 cents there.
Maybe not
Getting
enough.
getting a little close for comfort, but then having another key manufacturing destination in the mix. So that's a cheddar price, not a Mott's price out of New Zealand. It does just really call into question how much longevity do US exports have when prices are nearing convergence globally.
And keep an eye on the weather in Europe. It's cooled off a little bit in places like France and Germany the past week or so, but next week gets hot again, is what I've been reading.
All right, Phil, what's your stat of the week?
My number of the week is 13. That's the number of weeks we've seen year-over-year declines in foot traffic to US QSR outlets, according to the fine folks at Placer AI. So we're at a 13-week losing streak. The latest data for, I believe, was the week ending July 19th. We were down 3.6%. The QSR space is struggling. Interesting, we saw Domino's report okay-ish results. Pizza's doing better than burgers, but the whole sector is just a drag.
You were looking at some data on the burger chains, Phil. And this kind of ties into your cattle market discussion as well. But man, the burger chains had a tough June.
Yep.
And there were some big dogs that were big time struggling. I wonder if the burger chains are they picking back up in July?
Nope.
Or
not the big ones anyway, the ones I follow.
Yeah.
The first part of July, the performance is worse.
So combine that with retail sales on beef that maybe aren't so stellar either, or at least slipping a little bit.
Interesting times.
Interesting times.
What do you got for your stat of the week?
Okay, my stat of the week is 11.6. Reuters reports some data from Nielsen IQ that year-to-date value retailers grew sales by 11.6% year over year. That compares to just plus 2.3% for conventional retailers. Digesting that all down, people are heading to Aldi compared to your traditional retailers to try to find value.
Yeah, and keep in mind though that conventional number, if we're talking dollar sales, that's about in line with inflation. So they're barely hanging on to inflation, where the value players are up sharply. If you go to Aldi, there are a lot more people hanging around Aldi than there were not so long ago.
Okay, I've got a pretty fearless prediction, Phil. There's a lot of noise in the high protein space recently. It seemed like first half of the year, it was just like rapid rise higher. I've been picking up some notes of that market seemingly stalling out a little bit. So here's my fearless prediction. We've put in the highs for the year on the WPC 80 market.
We'll see. I mean, I think that, we're seeing a lot of companies pass along these higher ingredient costs to consumers, and it's been working, but boy, we are testing the boundaries, I'm guessing. So maybe that's what we're seeing a little bit in the background.
Okay, how about yours?
So today, price of unleaded gasoline in the United States, according to AAA, just over $4.10 per gallon for regular unleaded. So we're back over $4, a little uncomfortable. The high week, according to the Department of Energy, $4.50 the week of May 16th. I don't think we're going back above that number in 2026. So $4.50 will stand as the high weekly average price from the United States Department of Energy Information Association.
Interesting. That is pretty bold. Though I will say, I was watching the crude market today, and nearby WTI has been trading back below $90, even though the commentary in the press today is not all that favorable for any sort of relief.
There's clearly trouble out there. There's clearly trouble. But we make a lot of crude oil here in these fine United States.
All right, Phil, we got an exciting episode ahead, all about ice cream. Let's get to our first guest. We are excited to have Renato DePaolis II with us today. Renato is the Chief Executive Officer at Hoffmann, Oberweis Dairy LLC and Cedar Crest Ice Cream. He brings to this role decades of experience leading organizations through complex change and guiding transformation and growth. Renato, welcome to the Dairy Download.
Kathleen, thank you. Thanks for taking time to talk about our two amazing companies. Really appreciate it.
Well, with that, let's get a little history on Oberweis Dairy because it's your 100th anniversary year.
That's right. Well, you're stealing the thunder, but yes.
Oh, sorry.
But it is, yeah. It's notable for sure. So 100 years of trust. What we're really excited about is we have a clear vision ahead for Oberweis, be America's choice for premium dairy. So celebrating the past, founded in 1927, Aurora, Illinois, farm fresh milk delivered to the door of our customers. Which, by the way, we're still doing today with our own teams. That modern milk person is taking care of our community. So we're known for that iconic glass bottled milk, but we're also known for super premium ice cream, which we're very proud of. I think maybe we're a little bit of ice cream snobs in the categories of super premium, premium, and ice cream, all the way down to frozen dessert. So we're really proud of that, and it's we're sticking to our values, which are to be premium, be fun. We're looking to show up in new ways, and then be the wingman. Happy to share on that a little bit more, but certainly also own our customer experience and really bring that forward for the next 100 years.
And what has your journey to Oberweis been?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Well, I don't mind sharing. I was a fighter pilot, so that probably seems like not really the path to dairy, but I was born in Wisconsin, so maybe there's something there. So I did that, but it was really leading, complex organizations and high stakes environments. Really, food, dairy is really no different, especially ours. It's fresh dairy, 72 hours from farm to glass bottled milk delivered to your door. That's a high stake experience, if you will, that whole cold chain. Me individually certainly left government and went to the private sector, working with the Hoffmann family of companies. As an operator, leading organizations there through transformation, and then saw what was an amazing opportunity to come to Oberweis. And I tell this story fairly frequently. I mentioned to you, I have 3 teenage daughters, but 4 daughters. And when this opportunity came about, we're sitting at a table, and one of my teenage daughters said to me that I won't say her name because it would embarrass her. But she said to me, that might be cooler than being a fighter pilot to lead an ice cream company. So I was like, I'm going to be cool. All right, I'm in. So a chance to be cool to your teenage daughters was enough for me to come here. But really, it is the amazing team that we have here, and also the incredible ice cream and milk that we deliver to our customers. That got me excited about it.
That is a pretty high bar, being cool to your teenage daughter with ice cream.
Right. That's right. Any chance. And then, of course, I don't think she really thinks I'm that cool, but
we're on a podcast now, so you can be internet famous.
Fair enough.
So you talked a bit about milk and glass bottles and ice cream, but what's the total package of products that Oberweis is producing?
One of the things I'll say is we own our cold chain, right? And we own our production for a lot of our products, our different ice cream formats, as well as our glass bottled milk. But we operate across 3 channels out of North Aurora, but across the Midwest, both with home delivery and grocery. And so I'll talk about those other products that we have as well, which is other things that families need to kind of get through the week. And our folks are delivering them. We have some of our own branded products, whether it's a cottage cheese, a yogurt, those kind of things. All the way to some of the snacks that you might need to get through the week with your family. We offer that in our home delivery menu as well. And then, of course, we show up in your grocery there locally as well.
It's interesting to think about owning the whole cold chain because there's a lot of different elements from retail to home delivery. Mm-hmm. So talk about your scoop shops. Yeah. What is the experience in the scoop shops like for your customers?
Yeah, and I think you're framing it really well because we believe that's what differentiates us by owning that cold chain from the trucks to the scoop shops. It's really what separates us from kind of the scoop chains that are out there. Really, they're really marketing companies and CPG brands. And obviously, a straight delivery service is what really changes. We call that our life cycle of loyalty. And so to answer your question head on, it's those scoop shops that make the memory, right? People come there for fun. People come there for that indulgent treat. People come there because they just want to slow down and experience time together with friends and family. And then we transition to home delivery, where we keep you as a customer with our products on a day-to-day basis. Again, iconic, sustainable, glass bottled milk, really something that we're very proud of. I think people are slowing down in life to make sure that they have those kind of premium, sustainable products. And then at the same time, we have grocery that makes it convenient for you anywhere you are to have our products. So, but the Scoop Shop really delivers on that memorable experience, and it makes you feel like it's always been there. It's why we put chess tables in our Scoop Shops, so people sit down, slow down, and really enjoy the company of folks. We're giving that nostalgia experience to folks. And what we're really excited about as well at Oberweis is, we call it kind of one Oberweis, is we're going to bring a digital experience that unifies those three channels together as we look to expand the business outside of the Midwest. So we're really, really excited about that.
Well, tell us a little bit more about one Oberweis.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's an internal messaging to it, which certainly resonates with our values, which is be fun, be premium, be the wingman, and be an owner. And how we all work together, support each other. That wingman concept is all about having each other's back, but really also having the back of our customers and focusing on them to deliver. And so that kind of ties us. And then the one Oberweis element, as we go out into the market, is how do we unify our experience into one Oberweis experience for our customers? And we think this fall and winter, when we launch our digital experience, we think that that's going to be a way that our customers can feel more connected to all the products in their everyday life.
That's fascinating. I want to go back and talk a little bit more about that cold chain element, because I'm really fascinated here. What are some of those opportunities within the cold chain?
Yeah, in the cold chain, I think one of the things that we see is that when you necessarily don't own your product from beginning to end, you can't ensure the quality at the Scoop Shop, for instance, will be consistent. And then if there is ever any deviation, you have all the ownership to go back and trace it and fix it rapidly, versus what I can only imagine many of the folks that are in the Scoop Shop business, the marketing business, if you will, they have to go to different vendors. And so we get to own that. So I call that an opportunity. I call it's an advantage, but I think that's what really differentiates us in our commitment to customers. And I think it shines through because you have a lot of accountability for us as an organization there.
I'm a big fan of ice cream.
Okay.
I had ice cream yesterday. I could eat ice cream for every day if the opportunity allowed it.
Same.
But Oberweis has a new high protein, super premium ice cream. Talk to us about how you got to a high protein, super premium ice cream, and what did it take to make it a reality?
Okay. Thank you. And I feel the same way as you. I had like 3 different flavors of ice cream yesterday with my kids and family playing chess at one of our Oberweises in downtown Chicago at the Lakeview store. But the protein ice cream, we could have come out with this about 10 months ago. When I came on board, it was an idea that had been working. And one of the things I stick to from my aviation experience is slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And what that was about when I talked to the team was really saying, hey, you know what? We don't need to rush the market to catch up with a fad. We need to stay consistent with who we are. And so one of the things that I did was, I remember in January, I collaborated coming out of this in the fall, knowing that we were going to launch a protein. We started to do ideation with our lab. I collaborated with the folks at the IDFA, our partners there, which was just really great ways to bounce ideas off folks. So I just want to share that because I think that was important as we made this journey to launch a super premium ice cream. And it really reinforced that we didn't need to compromise because we saw a lot of other brands doing that. And, in this protein category, there's a texture problem, and most of the companies are trying to solve it, or it seems, I can't put myself fully in their shoes, but by subtracting. They're putting in quote unquote less fat, they're putting in less cream, which we know where that goes, and therefore they're not even considered ice cream. And so we solved it by not compromising anything there. So it was a lot of testing. And it was a lot of effort to make sure we stayed real to ourselves. We were high, cream content in our ice cream. It had that creamy texture, and it had that great butter fat that we know that our customers expect. And we've delivered on 30 grams per pint and 10 grams per serving. But it was a journey, no doubt. But it was all about not compromising standards. And this is where we kind of go back to there's super premium, which we were able to launch a protein in that category. There's premium. I don't think there's a single premium or super premium out there except for us. So we're like a couple classes by ourselves. So when folks go to the grocery aisle and go get a pint, that they can if they understand the difference, they can really see that we're showing up in a very different way for customers, and we're at a very, very competitive price point. So really excited about that. That was our journey.
And how have the consumers reacted? Are they buying it in droves?
Yeah, we've actually been seeing it really kind of clear off our shelves in our scoop shops, which we were almost surprised about because it's obviously we offer pints in our stores, but folks are really digging it. And one of the really neat things too, Kathleen, is that we're not just showing up in a pint. I think this is another differentiator with us, because we are one of those scoop shops versus just one of these companies just raising money and getting into the protein business and creating pints in grocery stores. Our scoop shops are now doing milkshakes, right? So high protein milkshakes. So that's pretty exciting, chocolate and vanilla in our stores. And we're going to be coming out, which we're really excited about because of our new partnership with Cedar Crest and our acquisition there. We're going to be having other formats with protein. And so we think that this is a great opportunity. It's a big future for us in this space to continue to provide good quality product, but also high protein in multiple formats.
Are you able to talk a little bit more about the Cedar Crest acquisition?
Absolutely. It's in the books. And so very excited about it. We bring, a little biased, obviously, but two of the best ice creams in the Midwest ever, if you will, ever produced, all under kind of one roof, if you will. And they're different. They're going to be two distinct brands. Cedar Crest brings 50 years of family operations, and they're still a part of it. And so that hasn't changed. And they bring Oberweis is 100 years. It's 150 years of exceptional, Midwest dairy that we are going to bring across the U.S. As distinct brands, no doubt. And so we're expanding in Florida and next year with approximately 4 stores for Oberweis. So we're excited about that, but we're going to be showing up, and we can't say where, both with Cedar Crest and Oberweis in other communities in the U.S. outside the Midwest. So that's where the future goes. We're sharing a lot of our ability to be agile and respond to the market, but at the same time, that capacity to produce and be reliable to these new markets is really what this has provided us. So we're really excited about it, and it's been actually really fun to work together with the teams and collaborate. That's how we've been operating for the last about 30 days, and it's the future looks really, really bright together.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about the future of Oberweis. Mm-hmm. What do you think about the future of customers and what they're looking for in dairy products?
Yeah, I think that, I think dairy products, people are looking, about 70-something% of people looking for protein in the market. About 38% of those folks, if the data is accurate that we've researched, is saying that, protein is something they want in their diet. I think that folks recognize that it's a good spot to go for good, wholesome protein. I also think folks are kind of re-rounding out their diets, and they're trying to find ways to make it convenient for them. And for us as Oberweis, one of the things that we're in a half-gallon glass bottle of milk, we think that we need to also update some of our formats so it's a little more convenient for folks so that they can make dairy a part of their everyday. I think a lot of families are doing that, and that seems to be where the market is going, and we're certainly going to look to support.
Well, Renato, we really appreciate you joining us on the Dairy Download and sharing your insights and a bit more about Oberweis with our listeners.
Thanks, Kathleen. Thanks for the time, and really appreciate being on the Dairy Download. Have a great week.
Now let's get another manufacturer's perspective.
We're delighted to have 2 guests with us today. 2 scoops of fun, if you will. Taylor Janisse is the product developer at Hudsonville Ice Cream, focusing on portfolio refinement and product innovation. And Kinsey MacDonald is the company's innovation manager, where she leads innovation strategy, portfolio management, and the company's stage gate process. Taylor and Kinsey, welcome to the Dairy Download.
Thank you.
Thank
We're glad
you.
to be here.
So, Hudsonville Ice Cream celebrating 100 years as a full-time ice cream manufacturer. Why don't we start today by sharing a little bit about the company, what shaped it into what it is today, and what stayed constant since the beginning?
We started making ice cream in 1926. The company actually has origins all the way back to 1896, but ice cream wasn't made until 1926. So since then, we have had quite a bit of growth. In 1946, we were bought by the Jose family. They did a lot of growth in the Michigan area. We have always focused on really high quality dairy. In 2003, the Ellens family bought us and have expanded where we are now. In 2023, we actually won Dairy Plant of the Year, which I think just continues to show how important quality is to us, not just in the product we make, but what our plant looks like, and the quality of life for the people working here.
Yeah, and everyone here at Hudsonville is so proud to hit 100 years. We recognize that huge milestone for our company. And so this whole year, we've been sprinkling in celebrations really every month, just to celebrate kind of as one big team and one family. Constantly are working to innovate, come up with what's new, but without losing sight of what made people fall in love with Hudsonville in the first place.
Yeah, one thing we love to say is that we are making a product that's supposed to bring joy. So we are working to spread joy.
Okay, so Hudsonville is known for creative, flavor-forward products. You've been winners across multiple categories of contests at IDFA's Ice Cream and Culture Innovation Conference in 2026. Can you walk us through that flavor innovation? Where do the ideas come from, and how do you keep it fun?
For our overall innovation process, we start with understanding the specific consumer we're targeting. So for the Hudsonville brand, that is very Midwest traditional families. There's many different flavor profiles that might sound good to one person, but could turn another person off. So we have to know who's buying that ice cream.
Inspiration kind of comes from anywhere. We're always watching social media trends, retail trends, restaurants and bakery menus and things like that. And from there, we brainstorm as a cross-functional departments. Our R&D department, we love valuing the ideas coming from our sales department and marketing and so on. So it's really a team effort.
Okay, so in the last, let's say 6 or 12 months, what's the most exciting, fresh idea that you've seen come across your desk?
I have really liked the global flavors that have been happening lately, specifically the Asian and Hispanics. Flavors have been trending for a while now, but we're starting to see it, I would say, even more in ice cream in a way that I would say a typical consumer would be more open to. So it's pairing those more unique, exotic flavors with something that they already know and love. And that's gotten people exposed to so many other types of cuisine.
I'm really seeing texture plays being really exciting in the ice cream category. People are combining things like gummy or popping and fizzing and things like that. So I think that's been exciting too.
Thinking about those global flavors,
Mm-hmm.
Hudsonville is in Michigan, right? So you have a lot of those Midwest palates.
Yep.
How do you introduce people to global flavors? I don't know, like a Mexican hot chocolate. That's not out of the ordinary. But what would those global flavors be like, and how do you get people to just jump in and try it? And the same is true for a gummy type ice cream, because I don't know as though I would jump at the chance to eat a gummy ice cream.
We love to put a approachable twist on it at Hudsonville, I would say. So pair that global food trend or new texture with something familiar. So always pair it with a familiar twist.
For example, we recently came out with a dirt cake ice cream. So when you said gummy might be hard for you to want to try, we made a dirt cake ice cream that has gummy worms in it that does freeze solid in ice cream. We partnered with Albanese to come up with this collaboration, and we think that that has allowed people to not be scared of like trying a gummy in ice cream, because everybody knows and loves dirt cake. It's like a very nostalgic flavor too, which is also a huge trend we're seeing.
Just in terms of something else that you have interesting that's going on is this partnership with Little Debbie, another iconic brand, flavor profile. Talk about how you got there and what that process and partnership looks like.
One thing we especially love about the Little Debbie partnership is that company is also family owned. So that we have very, very similar core values. We want to bring joy to people with our products, and we care about the people that work at both of our companies. We have partnered with them for 4 years now, I think. And it's kind of been just a whirlwind of a lot of different flavors and types, novelty bars, and now sandwiches. So the sandwiches, I think, are one of the things I've been most excited about. We've worked on those in the background for about 3 years now. We're very excited that we got to launch them. It was really important to us that we nailed the flavor and texture of the actual snack cakes in stores. And there's a lot of background food science that needs to go into that to make sure by the time it gets to a consumer's grocery store shelf, it's the right texture. They've actually performed even better than we've expected. We knew that we had something special, but we're continually blown away by like the public's response and how well they're selling.
Yeah, we think that'll be around for years to come. And we actually, speaking of awards, just this year won People's Food Choice Award, which we are thrilled about, for the best ice cream sandwich in the freezer aisle with that Little Debbie oatmeal cream pie sandwich.
And so you just don't take, that's interesting, right? You just don't take a Little Debbie cake or product and just say, well, let's just freeze it with some ice cream, right? There's a, how long do you think it takes to develop something like that? Is it, it's not a day, it's probably more than a week too, right?
Right. I think it depends on the complexity of the product, obviously. For us, sandwiches were a new territory. So while we might be ice cream experts, when it comes to cookies, that was some kind of a new territory. We had to rely on other like baking science experts there. And then we found out a lot of things about moisture migration was a huge problem. So if we use like the actual cookie that is used in the retail shelf, it became like so soggy and it would almost dissolve. So we had to develop a cookie that could hold up to the ice cream.
While maintaining all of the important characteristics of the original oatmeal cream pie on retail shelves. So it's balancing that science with the flavor that people are expecting and the texture that people are expecting as well.
And then just novelties generally, how different a business is that, if you will, than the pints business? What have you learned about what consumers want from those different experiences? All right, I want a pint of Hudsonville, this or that, versus I want a novelty. What do we know about that today?
So we've been learning a few different things. One is what we call like permissible indulgence. That's a huge trend. Consumers want products that are quote unquote healthy enough, whether that is because they have some kind of added benefit or it's just because it's portion controlled, so they're not eating as much of it. They don't want to sacrifice enjoyment. They're just becoming more selective when they do eat these kind of treats.
Yeah, flavor remains king. So flavor's always consumers' top priority. But with these novelty consumers, they are also looking for convenience, like Kinsey mentioned, portion control. And we're seeing, again, a lot of texture play in the novelty category as well.
I want to go back and talk about contests. So as we mentioned, IDFA has an ice cream and Culture and Innovation Conference, where you won a couple of awards. Talk about the flavors that you submitted and the products, and what do you think make those products specifically stand out in an award category?
I think award-winning products in ice cream begin with a strong idea stemmed in opportunity. So find the opportunity first, and then those products win through exceptional execution. So we have a core value here at Hudsonville that is good enough never is. And each of us practice that every day through our jobs. And as a product developer, how can we take this great product and take it one step further? It's good enough. How do we make it one step further every time?
Yeah, so we have a running list of flavor ideas that we add to throughout the year. They come from many different places. We have other employees give us ideas, friends and families, ideas that we think of in the middle of the night. We add all of these things to this list, and we definitely during competition time will come through and either pick one out or use it as a springboard for something even better. We, especially for the IDFA contest, we want to make sure it's something really, really good because we know all of our fellow ice cream experts are going to be tasting this product. I think it means even more to us when we win this one versus like anything else.
Absolutely.
So what's and please share, I hope you can share this. What's the most bizarre concept you've heard of and you said, that's not going to work?
Oh, I think it's all up to personal choice. For me, I am still warming up to the spicy, the sweet and spicy or spicy ice cream. So still getting used to it, but we're seeing it pop up here and there. And a lot of people are curious in that category. And a lot of it is coming really from Gen Z has so much interest in spicy.
So jalapeno popper ice cream, maybe not coming fast.
Probably not from us at least. I would say the weirdest ones to me are the ones that are like savory. I think there could be a place for some things like, but it's a very fine line. And whenever someone suggests like I don't know, someone was like, what if you made like a hot dog ice cream for the 4th of July? I was like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, put that right behind kale ice cream on the list, right?
So looking ahead, what excites you the most about the future of Hudsonville Creamery and the broader ice cream category?
I think there's just so many exciting things at this point. At Hudsonville specifically, the growth trajectory we've been on and continue to be on is really exciting. When I started about 8 years ago, we were pretty much just in that Midwest area, and we've now expanded quite a bit. We've launched frozen ice cream novelty bars 3 years ago, and then we launched ice cream sandwiches this year. I'm excited about the possibility of future form factors. Like we talked about, novelties are huge. So like, where else can we play in that category?
Mm-hmm. Yep, I would just echo continued innovation has me very excited. Advancements in technology coming up. More brand collaborations. I love seeing those kind of unique pairings or duos you didn't expect. And then just overall, what is going to be the next trend has me excited. So what's the consumer going to want next?
Well, thank you so much, guys, for joining us on the Dare Download today.
Of course. Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you for having us.
That's a wrap for today's show. Thank you once again to our sponsor for this episode, Infor. As always, we want to thank our production team, Maggie McLean, Mariah Minnick, Andrew Jerome, and Jeff Cullen at IDFA, and Abby Bauer at EverAd. If you are interested in what Kathleen does for her day job, check her out at ever.ag. And remember, if you enjoy the show, hit the subscribe button and leave us a favorable review on your favorite podcast platform.
Thanks for listening to the Dairy Download. Until next time, stay sharp.